round one of the 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy. And in the Junior Max category, the top 3 drivers, including this year's champion, will have an automatic entry ticket to the Rotax Max Grand Final, taking place in Brazil later on this year, which will be in the later part of November, with Portimao having had that last year. So drivers now filtering their way out of the pre-grid ahead of what's going to be an interesting opener, the 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. I'm the commentator for this weekend. We will be conducting interviews with some of the drivers. So as and when we do complete any races, we will have interviews. So it's on the front row, it's Chris Hanen with Matt Ries, Colin Kersani, Kai Rilats, Jeff Michiels, Danny van Dijk, Corey Palwijs, Jerzy Spinkovic, Finn Gerzitz, James Wharton, Christian Mansell, Olli Pilka, Gianni Andrisani, Linus Henson, Mark Skulch, Lautaro Morai, Vincent France, Max Jamadink, Vigor Hjorvard, Victor Obazanek, Malte Aldolfsson, Roderick Picker, Sam Van Til, Oskari Soka, Lukas Schabinskas, Trosheim, Zween and Winkle rounding out the order. So now it is going to be time for the 28 strong to get into formation ahead of our first race of the 2018 season here in Belgium. Temperatures currently at the moment around the 22 degrees Celsius mark, which may be set to increase. So 22 degrees, a bit of an upshift in the wind, 8 kilometers an hour now. So your top 10 as they come to filter through towards turn number 8, which is one of 2 90-degree hairpins on this track. The tightest of which is turn number 5, which leads onto the back straight. So drivers will now start to get into a 2x2 formation, and they will have to bunch up very quickly because we are set to get underway for the very first time in 2018. Red lights are on the starting gantry, ready to get the action underway here at Genk in Belgium. So all 28 competitors. So on the front row, it's Hanen from Ries. So on the screen in front of you, it'll be Hassen to the left, Ries to the right. And here we go. They're getting ready. Revs rise, and we are off for the first time in 2018. And it looks like Hanen has got the whole shot going into turn 1. And it's 3 abreast coming through into the first part. It's even 4 abreast. Some of the drivers running a bit wide, trying to avoid as we go round into turn 4. Now into the first 90-degree right-hander on this circuit. So it's Hanen from Ries, from Kerzani Rilats at the moment. And it looks like every one of the 28 competitors has got underway. We've got someone a bit slow at the back of the pack. Looks to be, I think, is that Rilats? That might be the 374 there. I'm not too sure, but we'll find out very shortly. As leaders now coming through into turn 9. Now through the slightly sweeping right-hander into turn 10. Now it's a very much a wait for it and then apply the throttle as Hanen is stealing a march on the opposition. And Kerzani is up into second place already. Michiels now third. Palwijs now fourth. So Rilats, who started on fourth, is way down the order, down in 21st in this opening salvo. So leaders now coming along the back straight, and they are actually passing road-going traffic that is literally adjacent to the straights here, and some great overtaking opportunities coming down into turn 6. So at the last time around, it was Hanen leading by over 0.7 of a second from Kerzani, with Michiels, Palwijs, Ries, Van Dijk, Gerzitz, Spinkovic, Henson and Obazanek rounding out the top 10. So it is still Hanen leading Now Michiels is closing. He went nearly over 2.5 tenths of a second as the battle is between him and Kerzani for second out on track. And that's going through into turns 3 and 4. Nice double left-hander here at Genk. And it is a momentum carrier, but then you've got to put the anchors on going into turn 5, which then puts you on the back straight. Drivers, now we've got there's a leading train behind Hanen of at least 7 cars. So that's Michiels, Kerzani, Ries, Van Dijk, Powels, Gerzitz and Spinkowitz. And I think also at the back part of that's Henson in the treble 3. So nice and calm and steady from Hanen at the moment, who continues to control this race. We have about 4 minutes and 10 seconds. He looks over his right shoulder and sees how far Kerzani is behind him, and it's just gone over a second as there's a nice move up the inside of Kerzani. That's Ries now taking 3rd position. So great clean move into turn 1 by the 399. Now they come back onto turn 5 down the back straight, and that gap looks to be extending at the front as there is a move for position. Kerzani looks to be even under more pressure, and I think there's Powels that's getting in the mix there as well. Murai, who started in 16th, is now actually at the back part of the field in 28th position. Rillertz, in the meantime, has made up positions up to 22nd. There's still 3 minutes, 18 seconds, plus an additional lap on this first heat of the day, with Hanen getting the whole shot and is lapping consistently in the 57 2s and 3s. Kerzani still occupies. Now Michiels has lost out to Ries, who taps the back bumper of him ever so slightly. And Powels is there, Van Dijk, Gerzitz, Spinkowitz as well. So this battle for, I think, at least 2nd position is not over by a long shot, and we've still got, there's more movements going up and down the field, and I think there has been a chase. Someone's lost at least a couple of positions in the process, so I'll try and keep an eye on them as they come round into through turn 10 and into 11. Meanwhile, Hanen is still doing an incredible job at the front, leading, trying to break away from those in pursuit. So at the moment it's Hanen from Kerzani, Ries. I think, so just wait for the timing screens to refresh for a second. Kerzani's gap between him and Hasen. So Michiels has now dropped to 6th position. Gerzitz now goes behind Spinkowitz. Spinkowitz for 7th position and 8th respectively. Wharton in the meantime has now hit the top 10. He's around 2.5 seconds adrift from Oberjanek in the 369. As it looks like Ries is still keeping Kerzani very honest. Last time around they were about 0.3 of a second apart, but I think the gap has quite literally closed down significantly with Michiels still with them. Spinkowitz in 7th, Gerzitz, Oberjanek, Wharton is the end of the top 10. Then it's Henson in the treble 3, who is still keeping there or thereabouts. Stemmerdink still 12th, Mansell in 13th, Winkel, who started from absolute dead last, having been excluded, has charged through the field. The 373 now 14th, and is closing on Mansell. That is for position, that is for 13th. And the gap between Kerzani and Ries for 2nd place in this first race of the 2018 season in Rotax Max Euro Trophy is still being hotly contested, as well as the battle behind them for 4th and 5th. That's Powels and Van Dijk, who still have Michiels with them. So time is now approaching 30 seconds to go on the clock, and I think with the pace that he's been setting, he's now in the 56.8s, as Chris Hanen is still leading, and I think he might have extended that gap. It looks like he has bridged a gap between them. So it'll be this and one additional lap to go here for the heat number 1 for the Junior Max category. So the gap has now extended to 1.226 seconds between Chris Harnen and Colin Kerzani, who started third and is now in second, but still has to contend with Mads Ries for second place. Pauwels in fourth, Van Dijk in fifth, Michiels in sixth place, Spinkiewicz still in seventh, Gerzitz in eighth, Obajanek and Wharton round out the top 10. So this an additional lap to go here at Genk for the Rotax Max Euro Trophy Junior Heat 1AB. And here comes Chris Harnen. So another quick cheeky glance over his right shoulder. So it is the final lap, and the gap now extends to 1.3 seconds as Ries goes up the inside of Kerzani on the inside of turn one. Clean slip shot move right past. So Ries now regains second position when he started around 8 or so minutes ago. But Pauwels also goes up the inside on the approach into turn number 5, and it's still swarming between Pauwels, Van Dijk and Michiels for that for fourth place, or third or fourth place. But checking out by a considerable margin, he's coming into turn 9 for the final time, with Chris Harnen doing an absolute mega job from the word go when we started racing. And Chris Harnen rounds the final corner, and the Dutchman takes the opening race win in the 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy Championship in the Junior Max category. Ries finished second ahead of Pauwels, who got past Kerzani on that blistering move up the inside on turn number 5 on the last lap. Van Dijk rounds out the top 5 itself. Michiels finishes in 6th position ahead of Spinkiewicz, Gerzitz, Obajanek, Wharton. Now, one man that I was keeping an eye on where he started was Ralf Winkel, and Winkel actually finished 14th at the end of it all. So what a way to come back from an exclusion post-qualifying. So your finishing order for the opening race of the 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy Junior Max Division is as follows. Chris Harnen takes the win from Mads Ries by a cool 1.84 seconds. What a great textbook lights out to checker flag display from the Dutchman. Kobe Pauwels rounded out the top 3 with Colin Kerzani, Danny Van Dijk, Jeff Michiels from Belgium rounded out the top 6 ahead of Jerzy Spinkiewicz, Finn Gerzitz, Victor Obajanek, James Wharton from Australia rounded out the top 10 with Linus Hensen, Max Stemmerdink, Christian Mansell, Ralf Winkel and Vincent France rounding out the top 15. The entire grid separated by just 24.7 seconds at the end of that race. And I have to feel very, very sorry for Karl Rillertz, who managed to get up to, well, actually,